Very good morning, friends. Today we'll talk about ABC of Indian economy. But these wonderful flowers are getting the attention. Whole garden is full of flowers, man. In today's discussion, we'll talk about letter X, alphabet X. It's almost more than a month when I started this series of ABC of Indian economy, and today we have reached on alphabet X. In the alphabet X, we will talk about X factor. Means things which are assumed by the Indian public. After so many marathon rallies with respect to elections that are approaching. In Delhi, elections are on 10th of April. The whole April is occupied with elections. Actually, these elections were due long back, say almost 2 years back. But then the government has to work for 5 years, so the election kept on dragging, and now the time has come where Manmohan Singh is relieved that his term is getting over. He is anxiously waiting for his retirement. Many Congress people are not inclined to run for elections this time. It was there in the print media. Still another 15 days to go. Now there are no more agendas left for discussion. What to talk on rallies. In rallies they are talking about chai, iski bhujia, iska doodh. I don't know. But the real agendas are over. In today's Times of India, that is Sunday, 16th of April, 16th of March. Economy, growth, these are number one agenda in the minds of voters, followed by corruption and followed by inflation. So these are the three top things which are there in the mind of Indian voter. So we have rightly chosen the topic of economy as it is upmost in the mind of Indian voters. Second comes the corruption, third comes the inflation. So when I started this series of ABC of Indian economy, a lot of chaos in the Indian politics. talking about religion, talking about caste. But one thing is clear in the mind of Indian voters, be it of any religion, any geography, any caste. People want good lifestyle. This is the reason they want growth, they want good economy. They understand that it is good economy only that can bring happiness on their face. In today's Times of India article, Swaminathan Iyer, well known journalist on matters of economy, he said Sensex is shooting around 20,000, 22,000. Is it an euphoria because people think Modi is coming? When I read the article, he wrote that 22,000 Sensex is not because Indians are buying. It is because the foreign institutional investors are buying. Where the Indian voters are selling. So that means those who are going to vote are selling, and those who do not have the right to vote in Indian elections are buying. So that means Sensex around 22,000 has nothing to do with Modi coming or not. It has nothing to do with Indian elections and Indian economy. And even 22,000 Sensex is nothing, man. If you adjust it with the inflation, the 21,000 that we saw last time, as compared to that, 22,000 is nothing. Wonderful flowers. With shades of blue, white, yellow. So what I was trying to say is, nutshell, census has nothing to do with Modi. He was saying that had Indian investor, if Indian investor was really euphoric about Modi coming, then there would have been a lot of IPOs. Rather, let's see, time is still there. Let's see what happens after elections. Another X factor that is now assumed when just 2 weeks are left for elections, and that is people are not talking about Rahul Gandhi at all now. Rahul Gandhi is totally out of question. Now people are only talking about Modi. Now the next Prime Minister X, that who is going to be X, it can be Modi or it can be someone else. Rahul Gandhi is out of question now. So the competition is between Modi and Prime Minister X. Only two candidates. Now who is that ex Prime Minister? No one knows. As I was talking earlier, elections were actually due almost 1.5 years back. This time was actually dragged somehow or the other just to complete the 5 years. In fact, the election campaigning for election 2014 Lok Sabha started almost 1 year back, and 20% of India has already given the verdict in elections that were held for states of Delhi, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Mizoram, and so on. So, the mind of 20% of the Indian voters is already known. Now, wonderful morning, lot of greenery, lot of flowers. Now people are just waiting for elections to get over as soon as possible, and they want new government to come so that the economy can now kickstart again. Policy paralysis. Actually, Indian economy is suffering for the last 2 years almost down the line. Industrialists, so many investors are tired of policy paralysis. Even Congress government was very hesitant to come out with new policies since the elections were approaching. Keeping the elections in mind, they were very slow on policy initiatives. Now, who is going to be the Prime Minister X? Now, in Indian Constitution, Prime Minister is elected by the elected member of parliaments. So those member of parliaments who are going to come in 2014 elections, they are going to elect their own Prime Minister. Now, who is that Prime Minister X? Let's talk both Modi and ex Prime Minister. Prime Minister X. Now, everybody is criticizing media. Kejriwal, as always, he is an outspoken kind of personality. He criticizes media. That they are favoring Modi. He says there is no Modi wave. Now let's divide media into on two sides. Like TV media, TV channels, especially English speaking, they are comparatively more balanced as compared to Hindi TV news channels. I observed myself that most of the English TV channels, they are still balanced. I feel that is where the real journalism lies. And I've not seen English channels doing any partiality. I really like Arnab for that. He's very impartial sort of. But yeah, most of the Hindi channels, especially newcomers, they are doing blunders. They are really doing blunders. That's the reason why Kejriwal is angry. Now times have changed. Not many people go into rallies of political parties with so much of terrorist activities, bomb blast and all. Who goes to the rally? What class and segment of people go to rallies? That's the reason Aam Aadmi Party came out with that price of thalis, meals or dinner coupons. Because educated intellectual or traders or industrialists, if they want to talk to the politician or interact with them, they want to talk on such platforms instead of going on rallies. Rallies are one-sided, whereas these dinners two-sided, where you can even talk to the politician. And now, why English TV channels are impartial or are not daring to side with anyone? Because of social media. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Many Indians are on these social media platforms. So, and most of them are in English language. Though some Indians, they do type in English script and talk in Hindi, discuss in Hindi, but they are very few in numbers. It's only Hindi news channels who are doing blunders. Well, that was about social media. So, because of social media, English channels cannot dare to talk loose, but Hindi media is totally out of control, and it is at its loose ends. Talking about now Prime Minister Modi, so-called proposed by BJP. Now there is a lot of infighting going inside BJP as well. In today's paper, Jaitley has commented about Sushma Swaraj being so vocal about some Karnataka person joining in BJP because he was connected with Reddy brothers because of that mining scandal. Sushma is a wonderful personality. If you think about her, she can be one among the Prime Minister candidates in time to come. I'll talk about that later. Kejriwal is traveling all over India. He has campaigned in Haryana. He has campaigned widely in Gujarat, then Maharashtra. He's the one who will work as a game changer. I won't say he will be the kingmaker, but he will definitely be a game changer. In these elections, no prime minister will work for 5 years. That is for sure. Even Kejriwal commented that this Lok Sabha will be a sort of a khichdi. Yeah, the next Lok Sabha will come out with a clear verdict, but not this Lok Sabha. And there is a reason to it. In this Lok Sabha, Kejriwal was not well prepared. There is no doubt about it. He was busy with Delhi. Then we all saw that Congress and BJP came on one side, and the objective was just to fail the Kejri by hook or by crook. I have talked a lot about Kejriwal government. Now let's take its later part. When he resigned. When he resigned, people were thinking that Delhi elections will be held with that of Lok Sabha, and that is how it should be, because in Delhi, Kejriwal was never number one. He was number two. The first one was Bharatiya Janata Party. They didn't form the government because Lok Sabha elections were approaching, and Kejriwal resigned. Ideally, there should have been elections of Delhi along with Lok Sabha, but that didn't happen because Congress and BJP are not confident about Delhi. And number two, even if elections were held of Delhi along with Lok Sabha, that was for sure that Delhi elections will be again it's sort of khichdi, no clear verdict. So both Congress and BJP were not in favor of elections. That's the reason it's still hanging. No elections of Delhi have been announced. Aam Aadmi Party filed petition in Supreme Court with respect to this, and BJP, now the ball lies in BJP, but they are not giving clear answer. They are playing diplomatically. Neither they are saying yes to form the government in Delhi, neither they are saying no. Ideally, if you think from the country point of view, elections of Delhi should have been held with the Lok Sabha because they are always cheap. After all, if elections of Delhi are held along with the Lok Sabha, no extra expenditure. You just have to put another voting machine, one for Lok Sabha, one for Delhi elections. No need to arrange for police again, no need to arrange for schools again, no need to arrange for teachers again. So cheap. Now, if the elections of Delhi are held after Lok Sabha, it will be costly. You will have to arrange for police again, you will have to arrange for schools again, teachers, and so on. This is not good on the part of BJP and Congress. If they really think for the country, then elections of Delhi should have been held along with Lok Sabha, because that would have been cheap. There is no doubt about the fact that Kejriwal brought kind of a change in Indian political culture. the red beacons, VIP culture, water, electricity, MP local area development fund, MLA local area development fund. Statehood for Delhi. Actually, it's Aam Aadmi Party which fought for the statehood for Delhi. So far, BJP and Congress were just talking only, but he did something in action. The, this person within 1 year has brought a lot of change in Indian culture of politics. Just imagine if there was no Aam Aadmi Party in 2014 elections. These elections would have been just like any other elections. But entry of Kejriwal has made these elections very spicy, chatpata, and everybody is enjoying. These elections are marvelous because of social media, because of entry of Kejriwal. Media was aberrant even in previous Lok Sabha elections. I'm talking about TV and print media. But this time, social media, entry of Kejriwal, young population, women, these are the X factors which are special this time. This time people have shown a lot of interest in economy. They're talking about corruption. They're talking about inflation. These top three things are upmost in the mind of Indian voters. Never in the history of Indian elections economy have been so much important for the voters. Now the card of religion, card of caste or regionalism is out. It's mostly the economy that people are talking about now. So let's come to the conclusion. Now, who is that Prime Minister? If Modi is not the one, then who is that ex-Prime Minister? That ex-Prime Minister will be someone who may not be very popular in public, but the one who is popular among political parties, who has good networking across the party line. Media is openly talking about Mamata Banerjee, Jaitley. We should not forget Sushma Swaraj even. First of all, she is a woman, number one. Number two, if you look into the history of Lok Sabha debates, Indian history of politics and so on, you will find Sushma Swaraj to be a very balanced person, a very outspoken in her own style. She is very calculative when she talks, though she may not be master in economy, but she is good at social aspects. Look at Manmohan Singh. He was a very good economist. He is a very good economist. But as a Prime Minister, people don't talk in good terms when it comes to Manmohan Singh. As an economist, he may be very good, but as a Prime Minister, he was a failure, no doubt. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was not a very good economist, but he was a very good poet. He was very good at sociology. He knew the culture of India, Indian politics. So he was able to manage with all the political parties. Now this Prime Minister X, should be one who is not impulsive, who is not radical, to understand the Indian mindset, whether it is of east, west, north, or south, who understand the pulse of Indian voters, who has been in touch with the Indian scenario for the last 4 years, who has been very active in the last 4 years, and I find Sushma Swaraj the one. Last Lok Sabha we saw Miss Meera as a first woman speaker. We have seen Indira Gandhi as a woman prime minister, and this time again some woman is going to come as a prime minister. The reasons are ample for that. A prime minister need not to be an economist for country to grow and prosper. We have wonderful economists as bureaucrats. We have wonderful people who can guide the government, who can guide the prime minister when it comes to economy. Because even in UPA 1 and 2 we saw good economist as a prime minister, but then we lacked when it comes to happiness of the Indian voters. Indian voters were never happy, even in during BJP time. What we call feel good factor, because so far in Indian economy it is basically the top end people who made the money. Indian voters never realized that happiness, because the prosperity never trickled down to the bottom. This is the reason Kejriwal is talking about Ambani, crony capitalism. So the next prime minister and the next government should talk more about prosperity trickling down to the bottom. So it will be a good combination of economy and sociology. The social sector, the social aspects cannot be ignored anymore. Good economy makes only sense when prosperity trickles down to the bottom. Otherwise, what the use of good economy that is making top end industries richer, coming in Forbes magazine, Vijay Mallya coming in Forbes magazine, but the Kingfisher employees are getting nothing. What the use of a good economist as a prime minister when there are a number of rapes, when farmers are committing suicide? What the use of a wonderful government where children at schools are dying because something is mixed in the midday meals? What the use of a democracy or a democratic setup when voice is not heard at the top and a new party has to come in the form of Aam Aadmi Party? Now the next government should be very responsive, very reactive. That's the message. So let's see who is going to be that ex-prime minister. And that ex-prime minister will not rule for 5 years. That is also one thing. Within next 5 years, we'll see 2-3 prime ministers by rotation. But the Indian economy, Indian politics is mature enough that elections will be held only after 5 years. The possibility of changing the prime ministers are many, but the elections will be only after 5 years. That is also for sure. And the census and the Indian investors are not worried, because whatever party might come as power in central government, whichever prime minister, whichever party or a coalition of parties, now the Indian economy is into momentum. People will rule on the minds of the Indian politicians. It is people only who will channelize the Indian politicians with respect to what policy should be made to make the Indian economy more vibrant and successful. That is clear in the mind of voters whom I say the expected. That's all.